I'm Theresa Hughlett.
And I'm Steve Hughlett.
And we're the creators of balancedfitlifestyles.com. And we created this channel to help you live a more healthy, balanced, and meaningful life. So if you're new to our channel, please be sure to click the subscribe button and click the bell so you can be notified when we put out another video. And so in this video, we're going to be talking about what makes you full, right?
Right? Yeah, in our last video, we talked about the hormones in our body that make us feel hungry. So this time I thought might as well talk about the hormones in our body that make us feel full. And when you talk about these, there's kind of basically three main hormones that we'll talk about. And these really have everything to do with the types of food that we eat. So after we're hungry and we start eating, when we take protein into our body or we take fat into our body, what happens is our body the first thing we have is when you eat, you have what's called stretch receptors in your stomach. And your stomach, when you eat, it stretches out and says, okay, I'm full. I don't feel like eating anymore. And so you stop eating. Well, after a couple hours, then all of a sudden the stretch receptors always go down as the food comes out of your stomach and goes down to your small intestine. In the top part of your small intestine, what you have is a hormone called cholecystokinin. And cholecystokinin is a hormone that gets stimulated by the presence of fat in the small intestine and a little bit of protein, a little bit of amino acids. And then later on, way down in the lower part of your small intestine and in your colon, there's another hormone there, and it's called peptide YY. And peptide YY is mainly stimulated by the presence of amino acids, which is protein in your lower intestine colon, and then a little bit of fat. So what happens is cholecystokinin and peptide YY, when these come in contact with protein and fat, those get stimulated, and those will go up to the medial hypothalamus in the brain. And when they're in the medial hypothalamus, they tell the bodies, like, I'm not hungry, don't eat anymore. Now, this is again stimulated by proteins and by fats. Now, when you eat carbohydrates, that doesn't happen. So you get your stretch receptors, and that'll make you feel full for a couple hours. Then all of a sudden, your food goes down, it gets digested, it starts going down into your small intestine, comes back down. Well, now when you eat carbohydrates, especially like processed food, which is horrible processed carbs.
Like a bag of potato chips?
Yeah, like a bag of potato chips,
yeah.
Cookies, candy bars, pop, soda pop. Any of those things, anything that's in a box, bag, can, anything. You know what processed food is. When this comes in, after it comes out of the stomach, it doesn't go all the way through the intestine. It gets shunted straight from the upper part of the small intestine, gets shunted through the portal vein straight to the liver, and that gets metabolized into fat, which we'll go deep into later in in our later videos. But that gets metabolized into fat right away. So that's why when you eat something like processed food, you feel full for a little bit, but then later on, you're very hungry. And so it's not stimulating cholecystokinin, not stimulating peptide YY. But the other thing is that once these go into the body, what it does, it causes your insulin levels go high. And when your insulin levels go high, then that takes this glucose, and all of a sudden that can make your glucose levels go low. And again, that can stimulate your hunger. Now, once this food actually gets into your body, the other thing that it does is it goes into the fat cells in your body, because any excess energy that you take in that you're not either burning off right now with whatever activity you're doing and with your basal metabolism, and after you store up your glycogen stores, and we'll talk about that in another video. But once you do that, any excess glucose, and especially fructose that's in this high fructose corn syrup and anything that has sugar in it, that gets metabolized straight to fat, and then that goes into your fat cells. Now, when your fat cells become full, there's another hormone that they've just discovered that when your fat cells are full, it releases a hormone called leptin. And leptin is another hormone that goes up to the medial hypothalamus in the brain, and it says, I'm not hungry, don't eat anymore. Okay, and they were so excited when they found out about leptin. And so they took this leptin, they started injecting it into these thin people, and sure enough, it made them where they weren't hungry anymore. However, when they took the same leptin and they injected it into obese patients, what they found is it didn't do anything at all. Because what they found out was obese patients actually are producing so much leptin, because leptin's produced by stuffed fat cells. They're producing so much leptin that their hypothalamus is actually leptin resistant. So just by being obese, you actually make your hypothalamus leptin resistant, which means you're hungry all the time. So what happens when you eat processed food? Just to recap what I've said. When you eat fat and protein, that goes in and stimulates cholecystokinin and peptide YY. excuse me, and these make you feel full. Processed food doesn't do that. It goes straight in the liver, so it makes it where you don't stay full, don't stay hungry for very long, or you don't stay full for very long. Then it gets turned into fat, goes in your fat cells, and this causes leptin resistance. So now this is another thing that makes you feel like you're hungry all the time. The other thing that when processed food does is when it causes you raise your insulin levels. They've also there's some scientists who think that insulin also blocks leptin in the hypothalamus. So just the fact that you're eating processed food raises your insulin, and that also makes you feel hungry all the time. So protein and fat, if you eat those, it's going to keep you full for longer periods of time. And processed food, when you eat that, it's going to make you hungry all the time. And you're going to be hungry for more processed food, which just adds to the obesity rates that we have right now.
Which, going back to the previous, because we're addicted to it because of our
nucleus accumbens.
Right. Was that? Yeah. Okay.
but that was in our other video.
Yeah, the other video. Yeah. So, and if you guys have any questions about anything that he's talking about here, and I know we haven't even mentioned this before, which we should maybe in the next video, we'll bring up that Steve is actually a doctor of pharmacy, so he has a little bit of history for like how many years? 28?
28 years.
Specialty in pediatrics, so he has a lot of knowledge about the things that he's talking about and the things he's been researching lately. So we will do a video kind of saying why you know some stuff that I don't know.
And we do love nutrition. Health and nutrition is extremely, extremely important to us. So we do try to read and try to keep up with this as much as we can. So that's why we want to give this stuff to you, and we're going to do it in little 5-minute tidbits. But if there's anything more you want to know, just ask and we'll put a video together and put it out there for you.
Yeah, so leave a comment below if you have any questions or would like to learn anything else about what we're talking about. And also be sure to check out the links below so you can follow us on social media and connect with us in our Facebook group. And we hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.